Excited to introduce you to, I believe this is the fifth episode of Quick Conversations with Sarah Otta. And the intention of creating this mini series is to introduce people in my world to leaders and to thoughts, ideas, and tools that you can use now and practically apply it so that you can have a higher level of access to your creativity, feel more authentic, be in your alignment. And today is so exciting because I get to bring in one of my dearest and best friends, Bronwyn Morrissey. And she is calling in from Boulder, Colorado, but she works with people internationally, specifically with mindfulness, helping them really get in tune with their most authentic selves. And so I'm going to let her share a bit about that in a moment here. But she comes from 30 years in mortgage banking and utilizing a very different skill set and a very different part of her brain. And then she came to really this intersection where she decided that she was going to step into more soul work. And it's been such a beautiful journey to see. We met as executive coaches and we both, work in that capacity still. But Bronwyn's unique flavor is I'm not even gonna go into it and try to do it myself, but Bronwyn, yes, anything you would like to share
Oh.
about your journey here before we go into our first question of what people need to know right now?
Yeah, what I'll share is that somebody asked me this question the other day, like, what is your mission? What are you here doing? And it's become super clear to me recently. I'm here to bring more consciousness into the world. And how I'm doing that at this moment right now is one corporation at a time. And it's with corporations that I understand, what they're going through, the process, their day to day, the pressure, financial services, mortgage banking for 27, 30 years.
Mhm.
I understand that pressure cooker and how do we bring more consciousness to every single action that we do? So I love what I do, and I feel like something's changing and shifting. And
So
so,
when you say consciousness,
yeah.
what does that mean? Just for
Mm.
anyone who's watching this that might not have an awareness of what the intention behind that term is.
Yeah, because you mentioned the word mindfulness, right? And one of the ways become more consciously aware, right? Consciousness is like is our existence, but how do you become more aware of it? Because most of the time as human beings we're very unconscious. We react to situations, we do the automatic thing at the end of the day, maybe pick up a cocktail, or we absorb ourselves and we get caught up into our email box and we become workaholics. Like, there's all these things that we become so habituated to, we don't really realize we're doing them. So it's like, and then we're not making mindful choices and conscious choices with everything, from a conversation to what we're doing, throughout the day. So how do you bring people to be more aware of themselves? It is becoming more in tuned with and knowing yourself better so that you can make more conscious choices. And yeah, working with companies. And right now I'm like really excited because I want to see how it impacts their KPIs, their bottom line. I think it
Mhm.
does. And it's
Oh, well, and you've seen
amazing.
that in their P&L. They're like, Bronwyn started working with us and look where we are now, right? Because the
Right.
level of awareness and the level of insight is so much stronger.
Yeah.
And at the end of the call, remind me, I want you to talk about the ELI, the energy
Okay.
leadership indicator that you take people through, because I think that is a great opportunity for anyone watching this that resonates. But
Yeah.
I think you already kind of foreshadowed into this first question, which is,
Mm.
what do people need to know right now from your unique corner in the world, from your unique, space, your experiences, right? What are you seeing as like, oh my gosh, if people just knew this, right? What is it that
Yeah.
people need to know?
That is such a good but gigantic
I know.
question. So,
Intentionally, well, intentionally broad so you can bring your magic to it.
yeah, what I'll share is it's interesting because I'm writing a book right now, and I thought it would be a culmination of all the mindful moments I've done 166 as of an hour ago. I wrote one. And what I printed up 103 pages, and I started sorting through them. And as I'm looking at what I wrote in 2021, I was like, wow, that I am not that person anymore. Right. And so this evolution of who we're becoming as human beings is so obvious to me that companies want to work with me so that they are more conscious because every single individual really that's what we're all going for is peace and harmony and more conscious living and in truth, in our truth. And I think what I'm sensing right now, this is going to be a little out there, but that's me, is there's a little bit of the calm before the storm occurring at this moment. Like I feel like things are kind of quiet and there's not a lot of, there's crazy stuff in the news and whatnot, but it just seems really like because there's a shift occurring right now. Like I can sense something's happening. And so for, that's what I'm feeling. And so it's perfect timing because we do have this opportunity to kind of mm, not spend a lot of energy and to stay grounded and centered for whatever shift is occurring. I think
Mm.
personally that it's like a higher level of consciousness on the planet for human beings. Now, whether people want to move towards that or not, we'll see. But that's kind of that's what I'm feeling right now. And I feel like people need to know that and understand that that is maybe why they're feeling, however they're feeling, maybe a little off or tired or whatnot, is to pay attention to that because your life is speaking to you.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like some people are articulating that like they just feel like they're in a pause, or
Mm.
they feel like things aren't necessarily moving forward or backwards for them specifically as an individual. But it's yeah, it's an interesting idea to think about like where are we collectively, right, in our
Yeah.
thinking, in our intentions.
Yeah.
Well, what is in the way? What's in the way right now of people
Mm.
identifying this, seeing it, articulating it? What's in the way of that for people right now?
Yeah, I would say two things, time and focus. So we are busy bees. Literally, people are running a mile a minute, don't have time to drink, water throughout the day, go to the bathroom. They're back to back to back to back meetings,
Mm.
deadlines, projects, conversations. You're trying to move forward and get things done, which I get, right? I lived in that for so many years. And so time doesn't feel like we don't feel like we have it. And what it requires for us to, really sit with this shift that is arriving and this maybe higher level of consciousness is to slow down, is to pause. And it doesn't have to be like I'm going to sit on my cushion and meditate for 30 minutes. People just don't have that time. But we can take literally 1 minute before we go from one project into a big meeting to clear our mind of what we just did in this, project over here. We can just pause, close our eyes, just get centered, take like 5 deep breaths, transition. Okay, now I'm going to go into this meeting. You're way more present and productive when we do that, but people don't do that, right? It's just, and that's where the focus part of it comes in. It's like, then we're not fully present and focused in what's happening over here. So we're not bringing our full self and everything that we know. So even for me, right, we have this call and I literally have a back to back right as soon as we're done. I'm definitely going to take a minute and be like, okay, that conversation with Sarah, that's complete, that's over. Now I'm turning to my client. What does that person need in this conversation from me?
Oh
Right.
my gosh. Yes, which I mean that kind of takes us to this third part, which is like how do we implement this? How can people watching this
Yeah.
take right, take a practical tool away to be like, okay, how can I start to play with this, implement it? As someone who meditates every day, as someone who's in nature every day yourself,
Yeah.
right? As someone
Yeah.
who has a really strong mindfulness practice and spiritual practice, not
Yeah.
everyone has that. And I think we tell ourselves a story that we don't have time and we're so busy. And
Hmm.
really, the reality is we haven't trained ourselves to value the slowdown enough.
Yeah.
But then when we do start tapping into that, we do become less reactionary and we become more intentional, right? There's so many ways to capture what the essence of what you're talking about. But is that particular like that 1 minute kind of meditative, closing that out mentally, resetting inside, and then right opening up to what's next? Is that what you would say people can take away from this? Like what are maybe some other actions people can take to own this, to implement it for themselves?
Yeah, for sure. That pause, I call it the mindful transition with my clients. For sure, that is one. Like everything we're doing from walking in my office, when I walk in the morning, I pause. I turn on my favorite light, which is over by the door there, and I literally am mindful and like opening up almost sacred space in my office, right? It's is a sacred space. It's all sacred space. So and then I mindfully step 1 foot in, right? Like those teeny little things that don't take a lot of time can be so helpful to ground us and calm us down, right? And this book that I'm writing about is about pausing. And what I see is that people don't pause. That's an example of pausing before I walk in the office, pausing between client and a project. And the kind of the ethereal thing that I'll share is that I want people to question this busyness. Like this
Yes, say it louder.
pressure,
Yes.
this
Yes.
pressure we put on ourselves. I'm like, we're the ones creating the pressure and the busyness. And you might say, like, oh, my boss put all these things on my schedule, or I have, from people in mortgage, and I work with a lot of people in operations. They've got like 35 files waiting, and everyone's like, we got to close by Friday. Yeah, that's true. But you're allowing that kind of pressure to come into your field and take over your nervous system. And so, question like, what do I absolutely have to get done? Like, what's true here? A lot of times we create tasks for ourselves. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, I have to empty the dishwasher now. It's like, that's not true. That's not true. So, I want people to just pause for like 10 seconds and say, is this true? And does it have to happen right now? Because back to the beginning, when I was talking about we get so habituated. I'm a neat freak, so I'm constantly like picking things up and putting them away. And next thing you know, I'm throwing a load of laundry and I'm like, wait a minute, do I need to do this right now? Because I have a call in 4 minutes downstairs. And it's just adding a little bit of pressure onto me. And then I don't show up fully for that call. So,
Mm,
pausing, questioning, and you'd be surprised. Maybe at first you're like, oh, only 20% of the time it was like, yeah, I don't really need to do that. It's gonna grow because it's just some of the stuff we create is not even real.
that's right. Yeah. And I mean, we're talking about, I mean, this is not just like this is nervous system work. This
Yeah,
isn't just efficiency. I think,
yeah,
even Tim Ferriss has kind of come out. He's like, oh, I created all these efficiency models, but
yeah,
what was I actually trying to solve for? Oh, I was trying to solve for a nervous system response,
yeah.
right? Okay, well then where did that get wired, right? So even the efficiency master himself is now going back to say, oh, and what he's found is when
Mm,
he identified his values, his core values, he was like,
yeah,
"Oh, so I just need to live by these values." But
yeah,
in order to even discover what our values are, we need to slow down and we
yeah,
need to take a few deep breaths and we need to really consider, right, what's really the places inside of us that get activated in positive and negative ways. right? And to learn from that and be like, oh, here's how I react when I look at my email. Or is there a better way that I can support myself in approaching that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and I wish corporate environments invited more of this energy in. I find it a lot more common with entrepreneurs. And I'm
Yeah.
glad. I mean,
Yeah,
the
for sure.
organizations you're working with, like the bigger machines you're working with, I'll say, in corporate, um, they're benefiting from the mindfulness work, right? So
Yeah.
we know it works, but
Yeah.
there are some cultures that I feel are much more open to this
Yeah.
sort of idea, right?
Yeah.
But I'm so glad to know that you are out there doing this work. Obviously, this is one of the reasons why you and I are so close and so much in alignment with this, because we're all just really helping people solve and activate like what is really theirs to do, what's their highest
Hmm.
form of contribution in this world. And it doesn't have to be frantic, and it
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be big.
Yeah.
It can be those small moments, right? Feeding
Yeah.
your chickens or watering the
Yeah.
wildflowers or hugging
Yeah.
a tree or making a call to a friend who's going through something. And
Yeah.
these small little ways are ways that we can enrich ourselves and our lives. But mindfulness, like there's a quote I heard recently, and it was the difference between a habit and a ritual is intention.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, I feel like what you're speaking to is like the ritual is a habit with intention, right? Something that you do between calls, between meetings in the morning. How great would it be for all of us to have a practice?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I would even think the definition would be a little different. It might
Oh,
be.
good.
Yeah, like I would say that habits are unconscious, right? Sometimes we want unconscious habits, like taking a pause between meetings and stuff. But some of those habits we have are unconscious that are not helpful and good for us. So it's intentionality and also being more aware of, the habit and the ones we want to keep and the ones we don't want to keep, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Well,
one more
we're,
thing,
oh,
okay,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
share one more thing
Yeah.
that just came up that I feel like I'm meant to share right now is when you were talking about living your values, and you said that to me recently, personally, which I loved so much, is like, wow, you really live your values. And I was really like, wow, you know what? I think I do. It's like I have to be on the trails every day. I have to do my writing. I meditate every day. All those things are really, really important to me. And I heard something the other day, and I've been sitting with it, so I'll share it with everyone, is we are meant to follow our passions, right? And a lot of people, in their jobs, they might not have passion about exactly what they're doing. I certainly didn't love mortgage banking for 27 years, or how long I did it. But how do you bring passion into everything you do? Because when we don't, we kind of shrivel up our humanness, right? And we forget that what we're here to do is shine our light and when we're being in passion, that's when we do it. So, to have people ponder and get curious about, okay, what am I passionate about and how do I bring that into my everyday? So that I can be as bright as possible for everyone around me. And when you said my values, that's what I do.
Yes, yes. Which is why it's so helpful to have people like you or me, right? When people like whether it's hiring for mindfulness coaching or executive business coaching or whatever it might be, sometimes we're able to see it in people so much quicker than they can see it for themselves.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you have an incredible tool that you're certified in that
Hmm.
I've,
Yeah.
done the coaching with myself. Could you speak maybe just 30 seconds about the assessment and what's possible with that? And then we can close with your website and making sure people know how to reach you.
Yeah, sure. It's called the Energy Leadership Assessment. And I do lots of assessments like the DISC and the Myers-Briggs, but this one's my favorite because we are energy human beings and it shows you how you show up energy-wise under normal circumstances and when things are stressful. And so it is a mirror for showing you your conscious awareness of your energy because we all have to take 100% responsibility for the energy we transmit and receive. And each individual, like in these companies, I work with each individual and then we work as a group. Each individual energy, their energy impacts the bigger, the greater good, the whole.